feeling it? You feeling Friday? You ready for the weekend? For a lot of families out there, spring break is coming your way this week. So enjoy it. Hope you have a nice time. Stay safe. Spend some time outdoors. You're going to have some good chances. It's going to be a, typical first week of April. You know what they say about April and the weather? It's like April sunshine, April windstorm, April, I don't know, I don't remember. It's something brings May flowers, I think. No showers today. Gonna be fine. Cloudy, gray, 49, pretty much spot on the average for this time of year. Tomorrow, rainy. Off and on rain throughout the day tomorrow. Riley doesn't think it's gonna be a total washout, but yep, doesn't look great. Let's talk about this. Heather Brown did a good question last night about cash money. How do you feel about cash? COVID-19 is what Heather was looking at, the idea of whether fears about kind of having the virus on the physical bill caused cash to stop being used. Where did Heather get all those hundos for this story? What kind of money is the good question reporter making? Just dropping hundos, no problemo. So in 2016, 31% of payments were in cash, and then it was debit, credit, electronic, or online payments and checks. 3 years later, cash was down to 26%. Official numbers from 2020, not out yet, but a survey did find 70% of people during the pandemic were avoiding cash, were not avoiding cash. So still using cash. I mean, we know that COVID is not really transmitted on surfaces, but we have seen a lot fewer people, and I will say there's an age range thing. Here at the station for a while, I was the ATM machine because nobody had cash, and I carry cash because I like to tip in cash, and sometimes it's not, anybody ever solve a problem with like their Apple Pay? Like you're in a jam, but maybe you got a 20. Maybe that doesn't get you in. Maybe you got a 40. Maybe you're like, then you do like, do you know who I am? Don't ever do that. Then you go 60. Like that's what you do. I used to have a hundo in my, oh wait. This is the gentleman's get out of jail card right here. You got problems? I have a lot more cash in my wallet than I thought I had. Nobody better follow me on the TV station today. I didn't know. What is going on here? All right, sometimes you have to give kids cash, you have to pay babysitters, but I just want to know, where are you at on cash? Just going to put that away. Have you switched to plastic? Have you seen things shift over the last year? Love to hear your comments on Facebook. We'll read through a few in just a couple minutes. Yeah, everyone in the control room is now in my ear trying to get some of my money. That's, you know what? You guys deserve it. You all deserve it. Addie, I'm not sure about you. Addie, our robo-cam operator, she came right in my ear. Give me that money. All right, let's talk about vaccines, right? You don't see, you don't pay off the robo-operator. That's what happens. That's very funny. All right, COVID vaccine eligibility is going to expand today. At least it's going to be announced today. Governor Tim Walz is expected to announce this right at 11:30 this morning. So starting March 30th, all Minnesotans 16 and older will qualify. The state says it's because the federal government has said they're going to get way more vaccine in the state by April. We spoke with one teenager who said, even as a teenager, you're low risk, but after the last year of adapting, he is excited to get his shot.
It lets us meet more. It lets us meet in different kinds of ways. We can kind of sit down and eat dinner together as a family as opposed to kind of doing more outdoorsy stuff. And now we can kind of try to start getting our life kind of back on track again.
Okay, a lot more people will be eligible, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get your shot next week. Providers are still supposed to prioritize older Minnesotans, those with frontline jobs, and anyone with underlying conditions. Governor Walz will talk about the expansion this morning at 11:30. A lot of concern about equity still and making sure that we're getting vaccine to those in underserved communities, maybe who don't have all day to sit on the vaccine hunter websites and try to scavenge for appointments. And there are some things part of this plan, including like retrofitting Metro Transit buses and driving vaccines into communities. So more about that coming up at 11:30. We'll have it live on TV and on CBSN Minnesota. The news about vaccines comes as the state warns we could be in for another spike in cases. They are watching the variants, and the health department reported just over 1,800 new positive cases. That is the most since January 9th, so we're on the way up. Not great. We were coming down for the fall peak in January. State does think it's a variant situation. More than half of the cases are that UK variant, and experts say, look, lots of good news, but we still need to use the best way to protect yourself against COVID, and that is social distancing, followed by masking. Millions across several states cleaning up after a deadly line of storms slammed the South, second time in recent weeks. This is just heartbreaking. At least 5 people are dead. Weather Service working to figure out precisely how many tornadoes ripped through the Southeast, but boy, the damage is devastating. Shards of wood and debris now scattered where homes once stood.
I was standing in this window, the bedroom window, and I looked out and it started getting dark. I said, well, I better get out of this room. And I came out and I saw all of this. I couldn't believe it. It went so fast.
Much of Alabama remaining on edge, hoping that flooding today won't cause even more damage. As the cleanup starts this morning, they are under a state of emergency in most of that state. Minnesota Department of Public Safety is reminding everyone, once you're digging around in your wallet looking for your cash, you might want to get your real ID done. The deadline is October 1st. And after that, you won't be able to use a standard driver's license or ID to enter federal buildings or board flights. You'll need a passport. So if you have a passport, don't worry about it. There is an enhanced ID you could sign up for as well. So if you're applying for one, you do need extra documentation. The idea of Real ID is proving your legal presence in the United States. So you need one ID with your date of birth and legal presence, one document proving social security number, and then Real ID also is supposed to really indicate where you live. Your regular driver's license lasts so long it doesn't really prove your current residency, so 2 documents providing residency in Minnesota required. Expect to see more troops and law enforcement on the streets of Minneapolis. Mayor Jacob Fry, Police Chief Madera Arredondo announcing that yesterday. We kind of knew this was happening. This was an update. They said law enforcement presence about to ramp up because opening statements of the trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin start on Monday.
That presence will reach capacity at a graduated scale as we get closer into the verdict and deliberations. That capacity, as you know, is about 2,000 National Guard and 1,100 law enforcement partners.
Chief Arredondo says the increased presence won't just be in downtown. It'll also be in areas hit by some of the rioting and the fires this summer, like Broadway Avenue in North Minneapolis and Lake Street. Are you a QR code user? Get out your phone and grab this, or get a screen grab of this QR code. Because starting next week, I will be on CBSN Minnesota all day, anchoring live coverage of the Chauvin trial. So grab the WCCO app. It's a great way to watch CBSN Minnesota, and you can do it just by going to this QR code, and we'll get you right to the app. NCAA has hired a civil rights law firm to conduct a gender equity review for its men and women's basketball program. I don't think you need a law firm to figure out this nonsense, where we saw the huge disparities in training facilities, food service, all sorts of issues that we saw going viral on social media. In a statement yesterday, the NCAA said many of those operational issues have been resolved, but you know what? That law firm needs to look at the deeper issues, and the NCAA said the organization needs to make sure it's doing what it can to support gender equity in sports. This is a weird story about a guy who quit his job and a boss who was a little upset about it. A Georgia man got this dropped off in his driveway. It's his final paycheck in the form of 500 pounds of pennies. Andreas Flatten quit his job after arguing with his boss. Instead of a final paycheck, this is what was deposited. There's a little note in the middle of it that was not suitable for broadcast. The coin's also covered. This guy worked at like a auto body shop, and so it's covered in this kind of fluid. He thinks it's maybe power steering fluid. So many coins that actually flatten the tire on his wheelbarrow. He's cleaning the pennies because you can't deposit greased up pennies. Super weird, right? This can't be legal. I mean, assuming this is legit, can a boss Just do this? I don't know. What's going on in Georgia? Get it together. How about Peeps and Pepsi? If you like cola, and there are so many flavor variants, why not a little marshmallow Peeps? A little dose of that with your Pepsi. They're not selling these. These are being given away. This is a social media stunt to get attention, and giving away 3,000 of these to Instagram and Twitter users. Use the hashtag #HangingWithMyPeeps. Get it? And you post a photo enjoying spring with the original Peeps marshmallows.
You lost? So if you're looking at red skates, that's up front.
Emilio Estevez back as Gordon Bombay. The Mighty Ducks, Game Changers, new TV series based on the movies. The Ducks are now the powerhouse team in the state. Very selective about who makes the squad. It's different. It's not just the ragtag team. Now they're the big jerks. And so Game Changers comes into play. Puck drops on that show today on Disney+. All right, let's talk cash money. Show me your money in your comments. Anne Marie, I stopped using cash long before the pandemic. Yeah, it's pretty common. I mean, Venmo is awesome. I love Venmo. Yep, Simon uses plastic for everything. Always have a 20. That's smart. Venmo, Apple Pay. Yeah, I prefer using Apple Pay at the store to my regular credit cards. It's more secure, actually. Seems weird because it's on your phone, but I like it. Diana would rather use cash. This is true. It's a good money management system, right? It's a little more painful when you're plopping down that 20 than when you're just doing your Face ID. Thanks, Diana. Here's Beth. Still use cash, but for food ordering, always use the app to pay. Less contact. Yeah, I get that. That makes sense. Amanda rarely ever has cash, but that's always been the case. Yeah, I really started carrying more cash when we had babysitters, when we were paying babysitters. But I suppose you could probably Venmo them now, right? Yeah, thanks, Amanda. Pam uses cash when the amount isn't that much. Yeah, I went to a Mercado in Brooklyn Park the other day where I was spending like $4. Use cash. Let's see, one more. Here's Michelle. I think I've used more cash during the pandemic. Yeah, just a little hand sanitizer, wash your hands. Always a good idea, right, with cash, because we've all seen these like TV news stories. You won't believe what the WCCO I-team found lurking on cat, you know. Those were the good old days. Don't you miss like the scary I-team promos? Now we're so friendly. We're so nice. It's time to bring back the fear in local news. Coming up Monday on the CBSN Minnesota Morning Update. The one thing lurking in your handheld device's screen that may be killing you. It won't be me. I'll be doing trial coverage starting Monday. Heather will keep you company here on the CBSN Minnesota Morning Update. Thanks for hanging out with us Friday. Have a nice weekend.